Assalamu alaikum. So this question I've asked my private clients many times, and every time I've asked, they've got the answer quite wrong, right? So let's see what you guessed. So I asked, I keep this book, Kitab al-Shukr, and I have this like little saying at the front, Fihi khair, which is one of the great sheikhs in Jordan in the past, Sheikh al-Kurdi. He used to say this to his disciples. That this is one of the things that they remembered of him, that he and his disciples, that whenever anything went wrong, they say fihi khair. There's good in it, and this was part of their state and their relationship with Allah, that they would try to look at good in any circumstance. So fihi khair, and so one of the important. So I teach my clients to keep a gratitude journal or a shukr journal, and to try to write up to 3 things they're grateful for every single day. Now, one thing I ask my students, and I'm asking you as well, it's sometimes harder to give shukr when times are hard. So one of the hardest times in my life in recent years has been the illness of my wife. Some of you have been following, some of you are my friends and know about this. Alhamdulillah, she's a lot better now, and unfortunately she broke her foot. SubhanAllah, this is qadr Allah, that sometimes things like this happen. But this was before that. This was a longer term illness, and she got admitted into A&E. I think this was the first time it happened, and it was a very traumatic event, right? A world went upside down. Now, when something like that happens, I always ask my clients, how many entries do you think I put in for my shukr journal that day, right? And many said, so if you're like most people thought 0 or maybe 1, right? Alhamdulillah, strangely enough, and I wasn't doing this like as a kind of time management guru or anything, this just naturally kind of what came out. I kid you not, but alhamdulillah, I had 17 entries. It's like kind of like a record day of shukr. And now that's not saying that I found the whole thing blissful and fun, right? But it was like a real, and I think I must have been influenced by Sheikh Hamza's use of 17 benefits of tribulation. Maybe that's why it came to 17, who knows? But look, you can see it here. 17 benefits of Cyrus A&E crisis. And I'm just going to read a few, just to give you an idea, right? Because creating shukr is a skill, right? Many things in Islam we don't realize, like doing dua, praying salah properly with concentration, tawbah. They're skills, right? And one of the things which I try to teach, which is different in my approach to, I'm not a scholar, I'm not an alim, I don't even consider myself a proper talib al-ilm right now, right? But I'm a coach, and I like to teach people, and I like to break things down and make it easy. And one of the ways I've helped my clients with many Islamic practices is break it down into skills and help them focus on it and practice, right? And so shukr is a skill, and the shukr journal does that. And one of the things you get skillful at, and this is one of the benefits of shukr, right? We know from the Quran, A'udhu billahi shaitanir rajeem, la in shakartum la azidannakum, that if you're grateful to me, I will definitely increase you. And we also know, fa inna ma'al usri yusra, inna ma'al usri yusra, that verily with hardship comes ease, verily with hardship comes ease. And that in the Arabic, al-usra, it comes twice, and this al is referring to the same usra, the hardship. Verily with hardship comes ease, verily with hardship comes ease. But the yusra, which is indefinite, so those of you know a bit of Arabic, you're following me here. But even if you don't know Arabic, just basically know in these 2 sentences, verily with hardship comes ease, verily with hardship comes ease. That hardship, we're talking about one hardship, and the ease, we're talking about 2 different eases. So the Prophet ﷺ actually said in hadith that alhamdulillah, that Allah, every time He gives us a hardship, we have 2 eases. And it's ma'al usri yusra, that with the hardship comes ease. Not laysa ba'da al-usri yusra. It's not after the hardship comes ease. And that shows you that there's blessings even in the hardship. And look, I can see myself on screen. I'm talking to myself here. I need this advice. So don't think I've reached some great state of shukr or something. No, I'm just as need of this advice as anyone else. And in fact, sometimes when you're a teacher, you're more in, the teachers are more in need because we're more susceptible. We're more, so please make dua for me and pray that Allah does not try me with my position of influence, and that I practice what I preach. And so this is, alhamdulillah, this is something I do practice, and as you can see, so let me just give you some examples. Like, how on earth can you give shukr for, your wife going to hospital, right? A&E and your life going upside down. But when I read these to you, you'll be like, okay, this makes sense, right? So let me tell you. So the doctors finally taking the matter seriously. 2, spurred on to give sadaqah and make dua for openings, right? So when what do our elders always teach us? That when there's a hardship, give sadaqah. 3, increased dhikr and hudur, right? This happens to so many of us, that we turn to Allah in hardships, right? And that's part of our weakness. And Allah teaches in the Quran that that we should turn to Him in hardship and ease, right? That in fact, when times are good, that's a very important time to turn to Allah. More intense dua and tawakkul, right? Again, another. Sometimes, if we didn't have these calamities, we would forget Allah and just get lost in the dunya. Shukr at my own health compared to my wife's, right? It could have been me, right? If both of us were ill, right? It always could be worse. Adrenaline. Now this is sometimes sometimes you have to think outside the box. You have to kind of. So part of this is having awareness and reflection. This is why it's important. Some people are so busy they don't even have time to reflect. And when you're going through a crisis, one of the most important things you can do is reflect. That's why journaling really helps. Shukr, writing your gratitude is a type of journaling. The act of putting pen to paper and writing it out is therapeutic. So if you're going through a difficult time and you're listening to this, try it. Try getting a book. It can be any book, and try writing it. When you're feeling down and bad, like write about your thoughts. It's a secret. It's just you, and then intersperse it with research you do about great ayahs and things you read. It's really therapeutic. Plenty of khidmah opportunity, right? Amazing help of such and such a person, such a person, right? So the people who came and helped, I was grateful for them, right? Inspired not to watch any more movies until Eid al-Fitr, right? So I think it must have been Ramadan, and maybe we were watching some movies at the time, and we thought, you know what, we're not going to watch any more until Ramadan. So that's one of the things you can do. You can reflect on and I'm not saying watching movies is a sin, right? But we all know, we all have our own levels, right? And for us, we felt that was a bit of a slip to the kind of routine we had and what we wanted. And we felt like sometimes watching a movie could be pleasing to Allah. Maybe you're watching Urtul and you're trying to inspire yourself to be like the Salihin, right? Sometimes it's like, you're doing it as a intention, as a break, and to get closer to to your family. Fine. But we all know it's so easy to slip into a bad habit and watch too much and binge, and then it ends up you're sleeping late. Now that's not acceptable, right? So I can't remember, but maybe something like that happened, and we made a pledge. That's beneficial, right? That we got the resolve now to kind of do something which we felt was not pleasing to Allah and do something better, right? Just 2 more. Blessed with options like there's such a babysitter, and having so alhamdulillah, we found some cleaners and babysitters. So being grateful and being cognizant of what opportunities you have despite your hardship, which other people don't have. It could be worse. Number 13, cancer victims, Alzheimer's, dangerous accidents, right? And I remember Allah help him. There was like a scholar in Leicester who had a motorcycle accident, and we heard about that recently. That was much worse, right? And just one more, and this is an important one. I'll give you 2 more. Wake-up call to really safeguard our health, and appreciating the true worth of my wife and love for her, right? Because when you see your loved ones really ill and like you're not able to, you're really worried about everything about them, then that's, you give shukr for, like, you realize that, wow, their worth is so much, it's really important to you, right? So alhamdulillah, so I hope this was useful, and I hope that gives you some ideas and shows you that the act of doing regular shukr, it helps you be creative, right? And it's especially useful when you're going through hard times, right? And this is part of our creative process. This is part of our creativity. Creativity is not just for artists and authors or content creators. It's for all of us. We all need to use our creative facets, our creative faculties, and part of that is in shukr, right? To be grateful, you have to be creative. You have to be imaginative. You have to be reflective. Right? Why are you grateful? I'm alive. Yeah, you're alive. And remember, there's no such thing as a small blessing. Even the smallest things, they necessitate a great blessing. Right? The fact that we can that you can listen to me now, and there's no bombs, going off ahead. Alhamdulillah. Just watch the news. Just think about the ummah all around us. There's so many blessings. But I hope you saw with the blessings I mentioned there that even in the hardship, ma'al usr yusra, within the hardship, there is blessing, right? That, in other words, look at the challenge you have now and think about specifically in that challenge. Like I gave the example in the hospital, one of the ones I didn't mention, I actually only had 3 hours sleep that day, and I was actually suffering from a cold just the day before. But the adrenaline and the action I had to take to kind of go up down there, it actually kind of became almost kind of exciting in a weird way, just kind of helping out and trying to sort it out. My cold went, right? It was bizarre, right? So you'll find miraculous ease in the hardship which you're going through. And that's what I want you to take away from this training today, from this little advice, is that whatever the challenges you're going through, write it down and think, well, what are the blessings in that challenge? Inshallah. And it's not easy. I don't say it's easy, right? With the hardship, right? There is some ease there. You got to look for it, and inshallah, ask Allah to show it you, and guide you to it, and inshallah, He'll increase you in it. So, jazakumullah khairan for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.